Welcome to the No Limits Podcast, where limits do not exist, where you can create cash flow, equity, and real freedom with the power of real estate.
3, 4. Now, we will begin.
Welcome to the Dojo.
Quit your job with one of these deals. That's the topic of today's show. This is Todd Toback, and welcome to the No Limits Real Estate Investing Podcast. If this is your first time listening to the show, head on over to NoLimitsRealEstateInvesting.com and download a copy of the No Limits Wholesaling Map, the Massive Action Plan. And this is the exact blueprint whether you are trying to do your first deal and quit your job, or you're trying to scale a business all the way up to 7 or 8 figures and build a business that operates without you and throws off cash month after month after month. This is the exact blueprint to get you there. Go to the website, download it. It's completely free, and it's going to get you on your way. That is my gift to you. So today, I'm going to teach you a way to do a deal that you can do just one of these and then quit your job. Or if you are already doing deals, I'm going to show you how to get a 2,000 times your normal ROI on your money, right? This is going to be so exciting. So whether you are brand new in this business and you are scratching and clawing your way to your first deal and you are laser focused on quitting your job, or you are just trying to do more deals and make more profit and eventually build a team, right? This is going to be an episode for everybody. So I really want you to focus on the fundamentals here. And the fundamentals are, we are looking for a motivated seller, someone who's got a problem that we can solve. And once we find that seller's problem, we are going to structure an agreement with them to purchase their property. Now, it doesn't matter where you are at financially, if you have $1,500 in the bank or you've got $500,000, right? You can implement this. But now that we control this property and we are laser focused on solving the seller's problem and helping them move on, it's time to exit this deal, right? Whether you decide to keep it as a rental, that's a form of an exit, or if you decide to buy it and fix it up and sell it for maximum profit, or if you decide to do something else like wholesale it, or maybe a little twist, which I'm going to talk about. Our jobs is to maximize our return on time and return on investment. And that's really important. So I'm going to share this little hack with you, but I did want to just share an audio clip that one of our listeners sent to our office who has implemented some of the stuff that we've talked about. And this is from Greg. So I'm going to let you hear from Greg. I just got so excited. He actually inspired this episode. So let's play the clip. And then after that's done, we're going to jump right into the technique on an actual deal case study.
Hey, buddy. Just want to let you know, did your strategy again on a property yesterday. And we bid up a property I think we bid the wholesale deal up an extra $18,000 just by doing the Todd Toback special and creating a feeding frenzy. So, man, just want to let you know, super helpful in my business, and I really appreciate all the stuff you put out. Keep crushing it.
So awesome, Greg. Way to maximize profit. Love to hear it. So let's talk about this specific deal that we are working on or just went through. So we just locked up a duplex here in one of our markets, and we locked it up for $95,000. And the seller had a problem. They were a tired landlord. They were done with the property, and they had just, put up their hands and said, we want out. So we locked it up and we thought that we could, sell it for $120,000. So if you look at the profit there, we're looking at maybe $25,000. And so for a lot of new wholesalers, whether you're trying to quit your job, that's a lot of money, but it may not be enough to quit your job, right? It may not be. If you're making $50,000 a year and you make 25 and you invested 5,000 into marketing, you're like, I don't know. Or if you are doing deals and you made $25,000, hey, that's awesome, right? But it's not going to change your month. Well, let's tweak this deal a little bit. So we saw the pictures of this property, and our acquisition specialist looked at it and he's like, man, there's just a lot of stuff in there. There's mattresses and there's garbage and it's smelly, and there's garbage on the lawn, and the grass is overgrown. The windows have, mud on the outside. And, this thing could just look so much nicer for, just a little bit of work. So we went into the property and we asked the owner, I said, listen, do you mind if we just clean up the property on our dime? You're not going to have any risk, but we pre-market the property, right? And by the way, we disclose this, that we are pre-marketing. And if you anchor the seller there, they're fine with this. They'd love to see the activity if you prep them for it, right? Hit them between the eyes. I don't need to tell them that I'm going to make 50 grand with hardly any risk, right? I don't need to share it that way, but I can share the fact that I'm going to have some of my buyers come by and my inspectors and contractors, and there's going to be a lot of activity, right? So if I anchor them there, and if I say, hey, do you mind if I clean this place up? They actually see me more vested in the deal. So this is going to strengthen the relationship. So what we did here is we spent about $1,500 and we got everything out of the property. We got it broom clean, right? Not a speck of dirt on the floor. We cleaned the windows. We trimmed the lawn. And so we're about $1,500 in. We stuck this property on the MLS. By the way, we didn't have to close on it, right? And we sold this sucker. Are you ready for this? For $160,000 to a cash buyer. Okay, $160,000 to a cash buyer. Now, remember, we were going to try to sell this and wholesale it for $120,000 to a bunch of cash buyers who, by the way, we had compete for the property, but it didn't attract the right buyer who was going to pay $160,000. So a lot of buyers out there are willing to pay more, but they're not willing to deal with scary, right? And so when you walk into a house and you see a mattress and you see garbage and you have the smell and you see the lawn, there's emotion tied to that, right? And it may not even be real, right? They may not be thinking, hey, if I put $1,500 into this thing, man, this is going to be great, right? They just can't get past that. So in this deal, right, remember, we controlled the property. We didn't own it. We got permission from the owner in writing. We cleaned out the place and sold it for $40,000 more. Now, let me ask you something, right? If you do the math there, right, that's like 58 grand, right? No, I'm sorry. That's 160 minus 92. That's going to be 68 grand, right? Now, after costs and everything like that, it's probably going to be about $60,000 profit. But if you, take a look at this and you turn a $20,000 deal into a $60,000 deal, and this is your first deal, you can quit your job with one deal. Just one. Or if you are a business owner and you are kind of on that edge where you've done some deals and maybe you're trying to build a team, or maybe you're trying to make an exit, or maybe that one next hump that you're trying to get over, this one deal can completely change your financial situation. Completely. One of the things that I teach my private clients is they've got to turn these little levers in their business, right? They got to turn $20,000 deals into $60,000 deals. And so they immediately take this business that was generating $200,000 a year net for them into $600,000 a year net for them with almost no overhead and very, very, very little risk, right? I do this with all of my private one-to-one clients. And this is really, really, really important distinction because obviously you want to plug the holes in your business. You want to raise your net profit. You do want to add team members and have some investment, but there's so many little things that you can do to increase your cash flow, which is part of building a business. And by the way, if you are interested in becoming a private one-on-one client, there is a wait list, but you can head on over to nolimitrealestateinvesting.com/private if you are interested in that. And you are already doing deals, right? If you're brand new, this isn't for you. I think there's a lot of content on the podcast here if you're brand new trying to, again, quit your job. So here is my recommendation to you, right? Number one, always be unsatisfied with what you're making on a deal, right? Get hungry and find little ways to try to make more money. Your competition out there isn't thinking like this. They're running around like their hair on fire. They're not strategic. They're just trying to get to that next deal, right? Slow this down, be a little bit more thoughtful, and move these needles because I'm telling you, these are major, major, major game changers. Of course, you want to have your contract structured in a way that gives you ability to do these little things. Not every deal is a candidate for this, but if you have a deal that's about $1,500 or $2,000 or even $4,000 or $5,000 away from that one buyer, right, who may come in with a new loan or may pay cash and live in one half and rent out the other, right? Go ahead and spend that money. That is my recommendation to you. I don't know about you, but an extra 40 grand on $1,500 is definitely worth it to me. Okay, hopefully it's worth it to you. So here's a step-by-step plan on how to do this. Number one, okay, hit the seller between the eyes with honesty, right? Tell them that there's going to be a lot of activity, that you're going to have your buyers, your contractors, your inspectors there, right? Get a professional inspection like you normally do, like I've recommended on the podcast, right? And then tell them, okay, that you want to clean the place out on your dime, right? This will help you get a jump start on everything, right? And have them sign off on that, right? Tell them why you're doing it, put it in your contract, do it, and then market the property, right? I'll repeat this. So number one, make sure the seller knows that you're pre-marketing the property. Number two, tell them why you're doing it. Number three, put it in your contract. 4, do it. 5, market the property. That's it. So you may be thinking, Todd, what are the risks? Oh my gosh, what could go wrong? Right? Well, of course, this is where our self-talk comes in, but also, you got to take a look at the downside versus the upside. One of my mentors, Sam Zell, the billionaire, says, man, I'm looking for deals. He didn't say it exactly like this. This is my interpretation. He says you are looking for investments with a very large upside, with a very, very small downside. And so whenever you find investments with a small downside, with a huge upside, that's a good indication that you should do it. So what could happen? Well, you could spend the $1,500 or $2,000 or $4,000 or $5,000, and the seller can try to back out of the deal, right? Or you can't close for whatever reason, right? Maybe there's a title issue, or you thought the deal was better than it was, right? So one of those two things. Now, of course, I'm going to take a look at that. And obviously, you want to build your confidence as you go, right? But there are some things that you can do to mitigate this. So number one is, have a strong agreement, right? Have a good rapport with the seller. Let them know why you're cleaning the place out. Tell them that you want to get a jump on it and that you can get more on a clean property, right? And tell them that. Number two is have it in your agreement that you're going to do that. And 3, you can always record your agreements in most counties at the county. So these are little things that can prevent a seller from backing out of the deal. It's not foolproof, right? But these are just small things that I use to mitigate the risk. You can also do a title search beforehand from your title company and make sure the seller is the only person on title and make sure it's clear and ready to go, right? And most sellers, right, you can tell, 4 or 5 days in the transaction if something is going to go right or if something is going to go sideways. By the way, very, very few deals of ours go sideways. I would say that maybe 1 out of every 15. But here's the cool thing about this. As a business owner, you want to start to look at the performance of the company, not deal by deal. So if you look at every deal by deal by deal, right, you are going to freeze up, and every time you lose on a deal, you're going to slow down and you're not going to look at the overall performance of a company. So here's how I look at this. Say you use this strategy on 10 deals. Okay, 10 deals during this year, you decide, you know what, I want to maximize profit and I'm going to take maybe a small amount of risk to increase my profit. And each one of these, maybe you don't make an extra 40, but you're going to make an extra 20 on each. Okay, so that's an extra $140,000, right? And let's pretend like you spend $1,500 on each. And that means that you spend a total of $15,000. Remember, this is not all at once. It's over the course of a year. So again, you do this on about 10 deals. You invest $1,500 extra in each to get it cleaned out or do whatever needs to get done. Maybe there's a nasty tenant who lives in there and you give him $1,500. And then because of that, you make an extra 20 on each one. By the way, that is very, very, very conservative, especially in this market. So you're spending $15,000 and you're making 140. Okay, that is my kind of ROI. So let's pretend like out of those 10, right, 3 back out. right? So those numbers that I just said where you spend the 15 and you make 140, I'm assuming that 3 buyers backed out or the deal wasn't good enough or you didn't make your ROI back like you thought you were, including that loss. That's 140 grand on the $15,000 spend. So again, very, very, very good ROI, right? Low risk, high reward. As a business owner, you are going to have to take a look not on a deal by deal basis, but the overall return on investment, right? This is what the amateurs don't do. They look at everything in a silo. They look at every deal and say, I'm not doing this because X, Y, Z, or I spent money on an inspection one time and I didn't buy the property, right? Or I invested $1,500 and I, didn't get any more on this property because X, Y, Z. You don't want to do that. You want to look at the law of averages, right? Babe Ruth struck out a lot, but we all remember him being the home run king, right? And this guy hit a lot of home runs. And he said, you know what? These home runs definitely outweigh the small strikeouts that nobody remembers, right? Nobody remembers them. And you will not remember those small losses either, okay? You'll win a lot. Sometimes you'll lose, but as long as you're hitting your ROI, I promise you, you will win. So do me a favor. Go out there. If you're just getting started, do one of these deals and quit your job for me. All right. And let me know. Hit me up on Instagram, right? Todd Toback. And let me know you quit your job, right? Do one of these deals, get that courage, make it happen, stir it up, talk to yourself, increase your profit by 40 grand as one deal, and walk in there and say, boss, I love you. And for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to do an amazing job. I'm going to leave here on amazing terms, and I'm going to train my new replacement. But after 2 weeks, I'm going out on my own. Man, what a feeling that would be. And I guarantee you, maybe if your boss makes a lot more money, right, maybe he'll be one of your private lenders in the future. Very, very, very cool. So if you have not reviewed the podcast on iTunes, please do so. Or if you have not been to our website and downloaded the map, hey, I've got a gift there for you, the Massive Action Plan. So make sure you head on over to NoLimitsRealEstateInvesting.com. And please remember to share the link to the show, copy and paste the link wherever you consume this and text it to 3 or more of your friends. Talk to you soon.